Good evening. Good evening. How you doing? This is Coach Carvel Bailey, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Life and Basketball. And what we do on this show is we talk about how both the game of basketball as well as life are synergistic and how they go hand in hand. And again, on this show, we bring coaches, athletes, former athletes, officials, former officials, as well as those individuals that have been influential and have added tremendous value to the game of basketball. And we just let them tell their story of how a little orange ball has often changed as well as saved their particular lives. And so the show is being brought to you by Bless the Ball Skill Development Academy, where we help parents of unrecruited or under-recruited student athletes save money on college by helping them find the right fit for them to be able to get a full basketball scholarship. As well as the show is being brought to you tonight by Understanding Life Through the Game of Basketball. The show was birthed through this book. And this is how I live. This is how I was brought up. This is how I understood the game. Just being able to take basketball principles and being able to apply them to life. So all the things that we're going to talk about tonight and educate you on tonight are basically things that both me and my guests were taught through the game of basketball to be able to help us become better leaders and just better individuals in life. And so I'll post a link to how you can get access to this book as well as some other goodies later on in the show. But tonight I want to bring back for a second time. I want to bring back for a second time somebody that I have respected, somebody that I have admired their work ethic, their patience, their perseverance for a long time. Being able to see this young lady, go from, really a basketball player that wasn't really sure exactly if it was worth it, if it was going to work out, where it was all going, to be able to, see her reach kind of the height of her basketball career as a collegiate athlete, as well as her development in being a focal point, a spokesperson for women's basketball, somebody that I say is a pioneer of women's basketball, a great entrepreneur, a great business person at this time, tremendous mother, but again, somebody that has just shown hard work and dedication in each and everything that she has done in her life as it comes to basketball and off the court. And the good thing about it is she does it with a smile. Like she really, really does it with a smile. Definitely respectful, definitely humble. But if you take her lightly on the court, you definitely gonna get burnt. You will definitely get burnt because she's nothing nice on the court. So I want to present to some and introduce to others somebody that I know by the name of Franchise, but her family and friends know her by Nikki or Taranika. So I want to present to you all tonight, Coach Taranika Reynolds. Franchise, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, Coach. Thanks for having me.
Oh, that's no problem. As I said, prior to us coming on, I wanted to get you back on the show because I wanted you to be able to educate. You already see Cardi. You already see, hey,
My
that's
boy.
what we know as. That's what we know as franchise. That's all we know. Before we get into franchise, prime time, whatever everybody else may know you as, can you just explain to the listeners, to the viewers tonight, exactly who is Taranika Reynolds, the person?
Well, Coach, I carry many hats. I do a whole lot of things. I take more pride than I do in anything right now is teaching young ladies to become better women.
Mm.
And whatever they put their mind to, go for it. Um, right now, my biggest motivation is my daughter. Like seeing her being with me, being involved in the gym, and just getting better.
I love it. I love it. Now, um, let's pause for a minute because and you cut and dry, right? Your
Yeah.
mission statement, your why, is teaching young ladies how to become better women. Can you break that down? Because I think that might have flew over some people's head. But I mean, obviously, with everything that we will talk about tonight, but all of your hats kind of all lead back to that one purpose, if that
The
makes sense.
same one purpose. Of
So
course.
can you break that down a little bit for us?
I mean, I had some great mentors in my life, and they taught me more than just basketball. I got my leadership qualities from them: being vocal, understanding, listening, think before I react. And right now with this generation, they need to do a lot of thinking before reacting. Basketball can teach you so many things outside of putting the ball in the hoop, but it can give you the way of life. Like it really can provide what you may be looking for. When basketball is over and done, you got education out of it. You got a beautiful family. Like you living the American dream and don't even know it.
Absolutely. Think before you act. When we go into the schools and with our character development program, and we have 5 rules, basically five value points that we stand by. And one of them, we tell the students be rational. And they what's that? They really haven't heard it. And in its clearest form is what you just said. Think before you act. Be able to understand not only what you are about to do, how is that going to help you, but how can that also hinder you? And oftentimes as young people, and I'm saying us, because we were all young at some point, right? As young people, we tend to react more than being proactive. Does that make sense? And
Make a
so
whole lot of
now,
sense.
when we react, it then takes a more seasoned adult to come
To
and
bring
pull
us
us,
back.
to come and pull us out of that, trouble or whatever it may be, and they well, are you thinking? How come you didn't think about it? But, we just going and going and going. So, I think that's, a tremendous starting point to all of this. Now, let's go back to the foundation because I want people to understand exactly what makes you do all this. And so in order for people to understand where you are now, they got to understand kind of where you came from. So, being, a young lady, growing up in Chicago, being a product of, the West Side and all those things, how did that environment growing up mold you into the person that we see today?
Man, I had to grow up early. Like I'm the oldest of 6. So the 2 youngest right now are about to be 20 and my brother just turned 15. So I had to figure out a whole lot of things sooner than I needed to.
Yeah.
And at that point, the only thing I had was basketball to separate me from the BS in the streets and a future. And I had my grandma pulling for my future, and I had to roll with her.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Now, talk to us about, I mean, you just said that your grandmother was, was pushing for your future and you had to roll with her. What are some of the things that Granny taught you that put in you, instilled in you as a young lady, knowing that you were helping her with your other 5 siblings?
Be persistent. Whatever you decide to do, be passionate about it. Ain't no quitting. And be great is really what it was, and as simple as just be great. I mean, she dedicated so much, and I saw what she did, struggling to take care of 6 of us. So I wanted to do the same thing in return and pay it forward, not just with my siblings, but the next generation of kids that I do come across.
Yeah, yeah. Talk about your granny for a minute, and this is live, this is unscripted, and this wasn't even part of the question, but talk about granny for a minute because I've heard you talk about her before, but again, I want people to really really understand your personality, who you are. You know, I mean, a woman that, you know, takes on, you know, on her 6 grandkids, you know, and you the oldest, and you helping, and, you know, be persistent, you know, in what it is that you do, and be passionate. You know, that's a whole nother topic, right?
Mhm.
But talk about Granny for a minute.
I mean, Granny was tough.
Mm,
I mean, like the sweetest person you ever know. But
mhm,
like when it came down to us, it wasn't no games. Like
mhm,
it was either y'all gonna be in with us or just move around. And I
mm,
just loved the fact that her attitude, like what she said, she meant it. And if she
mm,
said it and she didn't mean it, well, you know, it was something else to deal with. I mean, she was just a wonderful person, God fearing woman. Instilled a lot of those traits in me, a lot of them.
mm.
Just the desire to take care of people that's up under you. If one person can't eat, shit, we all can't eat.
Right.
Like everybody got to eat and sacrifice, and you know, get the same dedication. And that's just how it was with her.
So at an early age, Granny really taught you
The blueprint, the game.
the yeah, and you know, the game to life as well as basketball, because
Yeah,
I mean it definitely sounds like teamwork. You know,
yeah. And I
if
transferred it all over.
yeah, you know, if one gon', you know, eat, you know, and it's like make it enough or we're gonna make it enough.
Oh,
But
we
I
gonna make
but
it
I
enough.
think
Yeah,
that, and you know, you didn't mention this, but understanding you, and it makes so much sense because you're not a selfish person. And you know, we'll talk about that later. I, you know, showed you, you know, your you know, behavior assessment and everything, but
yeah.
you're not selfish. And honestly and obviously that had to come from Granny, because there's no way that you could just think about Taranika and not
Yep,
think about everybody else in the house. I mean, is that right?
that's correct. Definitely right on the head with it.
So now let's jump back into what you said, because I can't let this just fly by. Be passionate and be persistent. Um, when you think of being passionate, and oftentimes, depending on who you are, passionate can come across as angry.
Mm-hmm.
Passionate
Aggressive.
can come across as aggressive, disrespectful,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. Um, but like when you think about the things that you're passionate about, again, teaching ladies to become better women, you know, like that passion goes well beyond Taranika. Does that make sense? It's
Mm-hmm.
something bigger
Yep.
than that. So, you know, and with coaching or with playing, you know, can you talk about the passion that it takes to be able to reach a certain level of success as an athlete? But then can you talk about the importance of being persistent? Because, you know, it's people that's passionate,
But ain't persistent.
but they really not persistent. So, I mean, can you break those two things down? Has that helped you just become a better athlete?
Yeah, it has completely. Going back into high school when I was playing, like I was passionate and persistent, but at that time I really, you know, really wasn't processing it, right?
Yep.
So as I got older, got out of high school, and I'm in love with the game of basketball
Mm,
completely. I'm
mm,
as passionate as you want to get. If you want to take it aggressive, angry, however you want to take it, I'm passionate about it.
yep.
But the persistent part, which could have derailed me if I didn't pick it up. Like
Mm,
I could have been persistent. I could have stopped being persistent when I had my daughter. I could
yep.
break it down that way.
Yep.
But I was so passionate that I had no choice but to be persistent because it's two of us now.
Yep.
So you can if you have passion, but you don't have if you're not persistent with it, it can derail your process. It can take you
Absolutely.
back a step. You can be passionate but not persistent, or vice versa. Like they got to work hand in hand. They got to work hand in hand.
Yep.
It's the foundation, and that's all I've been going with thus far.
Okay, yeah, yeah. No, I love it. And you know, we'll get into the whole breakdown of what you were saying about, you know, your daughter and how that makes so much sense for the people that
Yeah,
you know, will get to know you, you know, and you know, we got one of your, you know, mentors, you know,
yes,
chiming
for
in,
sure.
you know, the great, you know, the great legend, you know, Coach Dorothy Gators. And And I mean, this says something to your character. I don't think people really understand the relationship that, you and Miss Gators have, but just somebody of her stature to, just, mention, about your character. I think that goes so far. But now
Yeah. It's an honor.
yeah, absolutely. Now start out and I don't think a lot of people know this, but now your high school career, you started out at Michelle Clark,
Yep.
and then you transferred to Collins for a minute, before winding up at Marshall and doing the great things that you did there. Can you talk about just the transition of being at a school like Michelle Clark, and then how that transition from Collins to Marshall, how did all that evolve?
Man, it was crazy. In reality, I was really supposed to end up at Collins, but some other things occurred, and I ended up at Michelle Clark. Freshman year at Michelle Clark was awesome. I'm probably still holding some records over there on the women's side. But I ended up transferring, I think, the second half of my freshman year.
Okay.
Into Collins. So I transferred into Collins. Wasn't gonna be eligible, but I would have if paperwork and everything came through right. So a lot of people don't know I only played 3 years of high school basketball. Like, I didn't play ball my sophomore year. I did a recreation, but I didn't play.
Okay.
The second half of my sophomore year, my grandmother ended up passing like January 2006. I mean.
Okay.
When she passed, I was like, I need something that's gonna have me more wired up to pursue what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I met Coach Gators, and like it changed my life like tremendously.
Okay, so people don't know, that, I mean, as you said, you only played 3 years, and you really played 2 years at one particular place.
Yeah.
How did you turn it up? I mean, because everybody know, my parents, kind of my whole family, went to Marshall, mom, dad, auntie, uncle. And it's something about being a commando.
It is.
And it's I mean, it's totally different from a lot of other places. So, you play freshman year, you don't play sophomore year, you have Granny spirit and all of her teachings on you, and you wanted to use that to kind of get you going. You met Coach Gators, but not going into a system, and I'm saying that intentionally, going into a system of winning and a winning culture, really a championship culture, because it's a difference in having a winning culture and having a championship culture. Because having a championship culture, there are certain things that championship cultures do that allow them to continue to be champions over and over and over and over again on the court and off the court. So now, how did you get focused and really getting that basketball rhythm back, knowing that now your game had to go from here to really here in a short period of time?
I mean, I was quiet. Like, I've always been quiet, but the grief I was going through with losing my grandmother just put me in my own shell. When I got over there, like, Coach made me welcome.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the players that I actually played in summer league was there. Like, Sarah Rogers was there, Tatiana Walker. Like, we all was in the the same age bracket and same class and whatnot. So they welcomed me in, and it was on. Like, I just needed some structure and discipline. Like, I was always right here. If my coach ain't talking to me, I feel like I got a problem. Like, I was there soaking up everything she can give me. Like, and I watch game film when nobody else is around. Like, I go to her office, watch game film before it's even time for us to watch it, just so I can see what level I needed to reach in order to, perform the way I need to perform for her.
Yeah.
And that was just that. Like, she could have got me to run through a wall, like, because I just knew what came with me coming here and just being a better athlete, better woman, better person.
Absolutely. And you said that if your coach not talking to you, then you felt it's a problem. And parents, like kids may not understand it from the same way their parents, man. My mama tripping, my daddy tripping, granny tripping, my coach tripping. But as we get older, we understand that if they not talking to you, they probably kind of gave up on it.
They letting it go.
Yeah, a little bit. So, you took it personal right away that because of the love that she showed you off top.
Right out the gate. Yep.
And I want you to talk about this because again, we got players, parents, as well as athletes that watch this show, and it, goes all over, the country and all over the world at this point now, thank God. But I really, really want you to like slow it down for a minute and just talk about the importance of Coach Gator's believing in Taranika Reynolds, the person, and then Taranika Reynolds, the athlete, because I think there's so many coaches nowadays look at the athlete first and then they look at the person. So can you talk about that?
I mean, it was different. Like I had like coaches in the past that, that cared and would communicate with me, but she knew me on a different level because she witnessed what I had to go through. After my grandmother passed, like it was a moment where like I was almost lost.
Yeah.
And just her to step in and, help me out, whether it was getting to school, feeding me, like she was there. Like she was another mom outside of what I was already getting. So
absolutely,
man, everything she said, I took it personal because I wanted to be better. And she knew it was something in me that needed to come out. And instead of me acting out, I put it all into the floor. So
okay. Yeah, I love that. Now, you also said that you watch film, and we're not gonna give away none of your coaches or your mentors' trade secrets, but especially on a high school level, it's not a lot of that going on in terms of watching film. For the young athletes that's watching, and even the parents that are watching, a lot of people may take film now because they want to post it on IG, Snapchat, whatever. But
all the highlights,
But as a player, as you said, you was watching it because you wanted to see where your coach needed you to be, so that you can best perform in that environment. But when you were watching film, even at a young age, what were you watching? And can you explain the benefits of watching film to those individuals that don't really watch film?
I mean, it breaks down the whole game entirely. Me watching at that time, I wanted to see the mistakes I was making. Where did I miss an assignment? If my teammate missed an assignment, can I help them later on down the line not miss that assignment again? Noticing if I were talking, if I wasn't talking. Paying attention to what the other team may be cooking up, or what could be their strengths or what could be their weaknesses. And just trying to understand the pace that the game was being played and trying to keep up with that pace. So maybe I had to run an extra mile or something to be more conditioned for the game. So that was mainly my vocal view on it. Like I wanted to see so I can, like, you can't be perfect, but you can perfect the little things.
Oh,
yeah.
And you never cease to amaze me. And as I put, in the ad for this episode, your basketball knowledge is, like unparalleled. I think people just see on the court, but one thing that I always felt that made you such a tremendous player on the court was because you understood what all other 9 people were doing or were gonna do. So I mean, you dropping gems, and as Coach Jerry say, correcting your mistakes. A lot of athletes, as I say, they want to make the highlight tapes, right? What did I do well? But as coaches, we're looking at, because I'm pretty sure that some of those coaching sessions with Coach Gators and Coach McQuarters, wasn't sweet, right?
No.
We ain't necessarily looking at,
No.
oh, you made that layup nice. You was able to jelly that finger. No,
But you
looking
missed
at
that assignment on defense.
yeah. Really, really pinpointing. But you just said some things that I talk to parents about all the time, and you wrapped it up all in one question, or in one answer. The mistakes, but you also wanted to know what assignments, was blown. If it's, you're supposed to be help side, or you're supposed to go set this screen, a box out, whatever it may be. So now you're looking at the game from a coach's perspective.
Yep.
And I think that, I always talk about it's so many perspectives in the game, but it's athletes tend to just look at the game from an athlete standpoint. Yep. But when you start to look at the game from a coaching standpoint is when you really, really start to learn. So you're looking at the mistakes, the missing assignments, if you're talking or not. So talk about the importance of communicating on the court.
I mean, for me personally, the ball was in my hand 9 times out of 10. So I had to be able to speak up on a whole lot of other things. Like, even if it was just to pick my teammate up, they probably thought they made a bad pass or they weren't running fast enough, missing assignment. Like, I can't let them walk around moping about it. Like, I got to get them back into the game. And I know when me playing PG, I knew where everyone was supposed to be. Like, it was my job too. Because at one point, if I got to go get on the block, I need to know what they do on the block. So that was me. I kept up with everything that was going on, every play, every out of bounds, every defensive play. I knew where everybody's supposed to be. So in situation, if we got to go small, I can go play the 5 or the 4. Like, and that was just what it was. So I got to speak on all those things in order to make myself better and my team better.
Yeah. I love that. And then you also said, you're not only watching what you could have did better, but you're also watching the other team. And I think that's monumental, right? And it's no wonder why you've been so successful as a coach, because you understand these things as a player and then you just carry them over. But now understanding what the other team is doing. So now you're looking at the tendencies of the person that you guarding. You're looking at, okay, if the ball going to post, what are everybody else doing? You're really understanding oftentimes what the other team should be doing better than they are supposed to be doing. Am I right about that?
Yeah. And it's so funny at the time, I didn't even know that's all I was doing.
Right.
Like, I was just trying to be involved in the game as much as possible, not knowing that I'm really picking up on these natural bad habits that we might have and the other team might have.
Yeah.
And it just turned into instinct once we started playing.
Yeah. And that's another jewel there.
Yeah.
And you said earlier, think before you act. But and I want you to talk about this also. Because you talked about the pace, right? You wanted to know what pace the game was playing at, and the pace don't always have to be real fast or real slow. It can be, how the referees are calling the game tonight. What the environment is. What can you do to be successful? What can't you do to be successful? But you were talking about just in terms of knowing how to play off instinct instead of necessarily thinking. So can you break it down? Which do you think is better, being able to play the game while you're thinking about it, or being able to play the game off instinct, and why?
I'll say instinct.
Yeah.
Playing the game, thinking about it can always cause a problem.
Yeah.
I played the game with what was given to me and how I felt. Like, we were a team that we always wanted to control the tempo. We beat everybody up and down the floor. That was our tempo. So, and a lot of that was off instinct. Getting a steal, you ain't like, oh, I got to pass it to her. Nah, you got to get the ball up the floor.
So, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of players, or like, I'll say me per se, I was thinking 2-3 plays ahead.
Yeah.
Like that's always how I looked at things. When I was playing, like if I pass the ball here, like, but all this is in the active plan. If I pass it there, she might fumble it a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe I should run something different or go the opposite way so she can get it right under the rim. Like
Yeah.
that's how we think. And coach let me run plays. Like she gave me that voice to run out what we needed to run. Like she trusted my instincts, and she knew I understood what was going on. That was on high school and on the college level.
Mm-hmm.
So I was blessed to have coaches that understood or knew what they had in me, to help lead us in a lot of directions. So
no, and that's so poignant that one thing to be able to see the game 2-3 plays ahead, and that's why I was saying that you understood what the other 9 people was doing. Like it's really chess, not checkers, and that makes the game so easy because you understand. And so as point guards, when when a coach says, or now you as a coach, when you talk about KYP, right? And people, what the hell is KYP? Know your personnel, right? You have to know, as you said, am I going to pass it here to her on the wing and she may fumble it, or do I take 2 more dribbles where she can go get set up and I can drop it down to her and be able to catch it and be to lay it up? So, and knowing your personnel also is off the court, right? You got to know, what makes people tick, how to help them, what may be a trigger for them, how to be able to communicate with them. So all of those things kind of go hand in hand, but I agree with you, that you have to be playoff instinct because, and as you said, when I get it, do I pass the ball to this person or do I just pass the ball ahead to who's ever there? Well, it's a couple things to that. One, you have to be a basketball player, right? The whole program has to be basketball players, not position players. Does that make sense?
That make a whole. That's what I'm teaching.
So even though you are a point guard, but as you said, if you got to go in the post, you play basketball and make basketball plays as opposed to, well, I don't know what the 3's supposed to do because I'm always playing the one. It used to frustrate me.
Yeah.
Players saying that, like, well, I don't know what they're supposed to be doing. Why not? But also you said that y'all was a running team. In order to be a running team, and again, don't get no trade secrets away, but in order to be a fast break team, and I know that your team run too, one, you got to be in shape.
Yep.
So the things that it takes to get in shape to be a running team is more mental than physical.
Yeah, to me, it's mental.
Yeah.
The body gonna do what the mind tell it.
I love that.
If the mind saying that the task is hard, then the body gonna follow. That's just like if you cut the head off, the body drops, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So I feel it's more mental, and I tell that to my girls. It's more mental than anything. Like you have to push through. Like you ain't tired. Like that's in the head. You ain't tired. Like you can get through it. And that goes about too being persistent and pushing through. Like if you want it, you gotta go get it. Like you gotta go for it. Because if you're not working, somebody else is.
Somebody else is, and that's a nugget. For those people that's taking notes, watching this, share it out. Like that's a nugget. And it's been a lot dropped tonight already. But if you're not working, somebody else is. So and as you said, it's mental. I think it was Coach K that said like the first thing that goes when an athlete gets tired is their mind. So now you totally lost. And all you got to do is do something to refocus mentally. But you have to be in good shape to be a fast break team. But another thing, and I think that a lot of coaches may not understand this, but you got to be a good rebounding team to be a good fast break team because you got to get the ball first.
Can't be afraid to hit somebody.
Can't be afraid to hit somebody.
Like you got to go down there and put your body on somebody. You might not get the rebound, but you just helped your team and get the ball that came off the rim.
Yep.
You got to be able, and that's more effort than anything. Rebounding is more effort than anything.
Yeah. No, you know what? It was funny because I remember the day, when I was a dean at Orr and I had walked in work, and I told Lou and TJ, I said, man, listen, I ain't doing another rebounding drill ever. Like, what's talking about? I said, because it's effort. Like you got to want to go get that ball. You know, like so we can do all these defensive rebounding drills. I can teach you techniques and all of that. But if you don't want to go get that little orange thing,
You're not.
we can do this all night. You know,
Yeah, it's
and now
pointless.
I'm gonna get frustrated because I'm like, how come y'all not doing it right? But as you said, just effort. And now, you know, going back to Granny, that teamwork that she instilled in y'all early, as you said, if you don't get the rebound, you've done something to be able to help your teammate get it because the other team wasn't able to get the ball.
Yeah.
So now you leave Marshall and you have a stellar career there and you go to State Fair. Now, can you walk us through this process? I'm pretty sure that Coach Gates had, all type of coaches as she probably always has and had, calling her. They just, because again, we're talking about a championship level team, not just a winning team. And so, my dad graduated from Marshall like in the 60s. He was like, coaches at that time wanted, if it was the 13th or 14th player on a Marshall team, because they were
playing.
Right. So a coach would rather have a 12th, 13th, 14th person on a championship level team than oftentimes that 7th, 8th, or 9th person on a mediocre team. Hell, oftentimes that 6th person.
Yeah.
So walk us through the process of State Fair and, why that decision and then what happened to bring you back home.
So I ended up signing late. I signed in probably, I think it was the City versus Suburban All-Star games.
Yeah.
I had offers from Division I schools, but I wasn't gonna clear the clearinghouse.
Yeah.
So I was like, and me personally, I just think I needed a little more season, and I needed to go to a JUCO. I ended up signing with State Fair. Went out there. I actually did great. I was actually number 2 in the conference in scoring, in the top 10 in conference in assists. Like it was a pretty nice situation. Like they played the tempo I was used to. The coach was a guy, but he was just as firm. And I love playing for him. Great dude. The school was a great place to be too. I ended up coming back. I was pregnant with my daughter. So I came back, I think that was December of 2008. Yeah, December 2008, I came back. I ended up having my daughter in April 2009. I had her. I set out another year. Like I didn't do anything basketball related for a whole nother year.
Yeah.
And then Reggie Dawson took me up to Malcolm X to meet Coach McQuarters. And me knowing, like I didn't know she played at Marshall. I didn't know her backstory on, in athletics neither.
Right.
And he was like, she'll be good for you. Like she came from Dorothy Gators too. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, she played at Marshall. Like this could work out. Like it was no second guessing it. So end up coming there, talk to Coach McQuarters, great person. And I was getting the same thing I was getting from Marshall. Like I was getting somebody that was dedicated. She knew the process. She was hungry, just as hungry as about the game, and like she understood what was going on. Like I had my daughter at practice every day.
Yeah.
She didn't complain.
I don't want to get too far ahead first because again. So I want to touch on a couple of things. One, you said that and you're not ashamed of it. That you weren't going to clear the clearinghouse, or a lot of parents now of athletes and a lot of athletes, I'm gonna go D1 or I'm going, wherever, but they don't know
the process
of what it takes to be able to be eligible. And the clearinghouse really don't always have to do with not having proper grades. It could just be not having a proper file, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And so, understanding that. So now you go to a school that, as you said, okay, well, I need more seasoning. So I got these D1 offers, But do I go to a D1 and then sit out for a year and, now, start this process all over again? Now I'm sitting out Prop 48 or whatever. I can't really practice, can't do anything. So now I'm just a student. But you go to a junior college to where you can get more seasoning. Can you really break down to the parents? Because I talk to parents all the time, and parents just think junior college is for dumb athletes. Junior college is for athletes that's been in trouble. But as you said, you needed more seasoning. So, like, can you talk about what junior college offers athletes? Because there's so many people that overlook JUCOs, certain people that down JUCOs, and it's really a lot of athletes that probably should go to junior college to get that seasoning, but because they worried about what everybody else think, they wind up going to the school out their league, and they wind up coming back home. So, like, can you break down what junior college, the benefits of it?
I mean, it's some awesome benefits. Like, a lot of people don't know some of the top athletes were in JUCOs.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with going to a JUCO college, because if you think about it, those Division I's, they recruit from the JUCOs first. Like, they want that junior to come in and help teach the freshmen that they recruiting.
Yeah.
So with me, I just felt like Coach Gators and Coach Gwen told me, they say she's gonna be a better player in college than she was in high school. And I think as my senior year coming, I was reaching that point when I was just breaking out and just becoming something totally different.
Yeah.
You can get a great education. You can still go stay on campus. Like, you still get all the perks. Like, it's some great Division I schools out here. Like, they got some raw talent.
Yeah.
And whatever you majoring in, JUCO colleges got that too. Like, it's a stepping stone. Like, it helped build character.
Yeah.
It helped get the sense of, being on your own.
Yeah.
And just understanding how you need to evolve as a person.
Absolutely.
So it helps way more than, to me, off the back, if you're not mentally prepared to go to a Division I school, or physically fit to go to one right now. Like, you're gonna go sit out where you don't really pick up nothing and learn and get better, or are you gonna go play where they want you, and where you can get the exposure you need to go play at that school you once wanted to play at.
Yeah.
So, like, it don't change to me. Like, it's the blueprint to get to where you really want to go.
Yeah, and again, I hope y'all taking notes. I promise to God, I hope y'all taking notes. Because, and I mean, I always say that this is a personal and professional development show. It's not just, just basketball, like plays, or, we ain't talking about none of that. It's really, really real life. And, as you said, one, it's going to help you develop. And when I first started coaching on junior college level, coach told me, he was like, Carvel, he said, man, listen, athletes are in junior college because they need to develop mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, or psychologically. I'm like, okay. And he was like, so it's just like when you was at Hyde Park. He was like, but they just aren't developed in one of those areas, and they need that development. And then you also said, like, you were able to play almost 70, 80 basketball games in the course of your 2-year junior college. So now you got that experience.
Yep.
Later, for that coach, because again, when you get on that 4-year level, it's a little bit more important than on the lower level, because they pay a little bit more, if that makes sense. So coaches are like, they have to win, or coaches feel like they have to win. And so if they need a quick fix, they're not going to the high school and getting that athlete. They're going to get, because even if that athlete can play, but that athlete has no experience on the college level, it's much faster, it's much stronger. You have to think more. It's a whole different standpoint. And that's why I asked, coming from Michelle Clark to now Marshall, you have to immediately hit the ground running and step it up.
Yeah.
Well, coaches that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, we need to pay our women coaches more, definitely. But if they're making a substantial amount of money and taking care of their family on that, they may not have 2 years for those freshmen to evolve. So you're right. They going back to that junior college and getting them, but now, you have your baby and, you sit out for a whole year. So now you've set out twice in your basketball career to kind of refocus, or it was obviously things more important than basketball. And you've already said that you love basketball, which is a whole nother conversation because so many athletes just like it or it's okay, but that love, now you experience that passion, but you wind up having to Naya, and when you come to Malcolm X, and this is where we meet, we in our open gym, and I think it was a Saturday, and you come in, and at that time, you come down the steps, right? You come down the steps with a stroller. I'm like, man, why didn't she take the elevator? Now listen what I'm saying. You come down the steps with a stroller, and you carrying a stroller. And you guys were gonna have open gym after us, and so you came, and you kind of just sat there, and you were the first person, and I never forget this, T. Like, you were the first person in the gym, and that says a lot about just your foundation, being on time, doing things the right way. And so you come down, with your baby, and me, and I'm thinking, like, which one of these dudes in here then had their girlfriend come to the open gym with their baby? Now I'm asking Coach E, like, man, can you find out which one of these dudes then had their woman out here? And so, once it was, found out, and I came and introduced myself, and you introduced yourself, and you had your baby with you, as you said, every step of the way. Like, she was in open gyms, she was in practices, if it was a point in time, a check ball, if you needed to go make sure, that your baby had some graham crackers or whatever it was, you made sure that you were balancing both, that being a mom as well as being a basketball player. And it, took me about like that second week. And when you came down the second week, and I'm like, okay, this, like, she's serious. Like, whoever she is serious, because having worked with teen parents and at that time, and understanding, the ones that are really dedicated and that are really, not letting that stop them from continuing to get an education. Like, you was really, really persistent on making it work. And as I said, when I first met you, it was kind of like, when I first saw you that first time coming down, it was like, I thought that you were at the point of, is this gonna work or not? Like where do you go? That was what I saw on your face and your demeanor, wasn't moping or down, but it was kind of like, you look like this is the last time that I'm gonna see if this thing really worked. But can you talk about just having your daughter at that time, having her in practice, having her in open gym, and as you said, Coach Kim, she understood, she didn't mind, or at least, she never brought it up. It would be times where I would see y'all in practice and she'd be over there with her, but can you just talk about, just what it meant at that point in time to have Tanaya, and then to have her there with you, still looking to pursue that goal of playing the sport that you love?
I mean, she was my drive. Like, she helped me tremendously, and she don't even know it. I think it was at one point we used to come, like, I had class. My kid wasn't old enough to go to the daycare in the building.
Yeah.
And I think I missed class one day, and coach was like, "Why you miss class?" I'm like, "Well, I ain't had nobody to watch Tanaya, during this class period." She called a meeting, and all of us came in there, and she's like, "When she got class, one of y'all got to watch the baby." Like, she divided it up, and Like when I would go to class, they would all be in the cafeteria with my kid, like treating her like she was there. So like that what gave me even more push. Like, oh man, this a family.
Family, yeah.
Like it was real. And for her to be in the gym, like she helped me get through some of those practices.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was like I could look over there and be like, oh, yeah, she's smiling. This is why I'm here. Like this is why I figure out my next plan.
Yeah, and you know, for those people that don't know, you know, we talking about Coach Kim McQuarters, and you know, you come from a tremendous basketball legacy, you know, with Coach Gators, Coach, you know, McQuarters, who played for Coach Gators, and you know now, and you know, as you said, you had no idea when Reggie, you know, said she'll be good for you, but what Reggie understood was it's a good fit.
Yep.
And oftentimes, a lot of athletes just want to go to certain schools or play for certain programs because it look good. But again, is it going to be the right fit for you? And as you said, once you understood a little bit about her story and where she came from, you're like, oh, I can rock with this because we speak the same language.
We're on the same page, yeah.
And you know, for the people that don't understand Coach, you know, McQuarters, you know, she smiles all the time too, but you know, practice was a monster, and you know, I mean, it don't matter, you know, and I want to say this in the most respectful manner possible to those people that's listening. And I've played with young ladies, and I've played with women that has played with men or with the young men. And that's all that they know. And as you said, you know, you got to hit somebody. You know, sometimes people think, oh, well, you know, women's basketball, they're not going to be as physical or whatever. But like it didn't matter if it was women or men's basketball. It was basketball. Does that make sense? And so it was certain things that we should do, certain things that we have to do. And if y'all didn't meet those expectations, I would come down and be like, Coach, how much longer y'all go?
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, Coach, you know, I'm trying to get, you know, because we going to go a good 3 hours anyway.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get in and get out of here. Y'all running 45 minutes. You like, all right, Coach, just give me a minute because like they driving me crazy.
I was just gonna say we was getting under her skin. Like we were a bit much because we all had different personalities, and she was trying to manage us all. She did a great job with us. Like she ain't only look out for me on a personal level, but she looked out for the whole program on a personal level.
Yeah.
So she really something. Like she's doing a great job.
Yeah. And as Tello, it wasn't no 6 hours, man. Stop. And as you know, I mean, as you said, a family. And I think, you know, that year, you know, we had, you know, the best record. I think both of us, you know, me and Aaron had the best record in Malcolm X history at that point. We were 26-6, but we don't win that many games if it wasn't for you all, because it was a program. And so everybody held each other accountable in terms of, if you didn't do this, and you know, I wasn't in the building, but if y'all was at lunch at the same time in the cafeteria, you know, got the meal plan, you know, at that point in time, Malcolm X was rolling, right? You know, you don't really understand what we had at the time, but like we were the hottest ticket in town next to the Bulls. You know, I say other than Robert Moore's basketball team, Malcolm X program, men and women, was the hottest ticket in town next to the Bulls. And so, you know, and this was, you know, with D Rose and all that, but what Coach Kim did was, as you said, she was able to gel all those personalities into one, but it did something to us when we went on the road. And, you know, my team knew when you get off the bus, take them earrings off, take them hats off, like we're coming in as a first-class program.
Yep, it's a business, y'all.
And it's business. Absolutely, it's a business trip. But it meant something to us to walk in the gym and be able to catch 10 or 15 minutes of y'all game, because y'all set the tone and y'all set the atmosphere, if that makes sense. So now we can't go home with a split. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? We came here, wherever that was, we
Yep.
came here to get two. And it wouldn't be right. Like we would let you guys down if we got a split. And you know, I think vice versa, some of those games
Mhm.
where that women program was better than the men's, y'all kind of understood it too. I think like
Yeah.
we got to hold our end because we already know what the boys coming in and do. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like we already
Yep.
know they're about to smack these up. So
And we
we
didn't talk trash all day. And
all so you know I think that was big in terms of as Pooh Man said, you know, the dungeon just
yep.
being able to um sustain, persevere, and get through those times, those good and bad times. And you know, you all actually go to nationals. You know, you all
Yep.
went, you know, first time for everything, you know, and you know, so y'all go to nationals and how was that experience for people that don't understand? Because again, JUCOs do have national tournaments, right?
Yes, they do.
And you know, you all played. I never forget. You know, you all won the regional title, and with Division One, now you got to play the district game.
hmm
And the district game was like rolling. You
Yeah.
know, you all win district, and now you go to nationals. What was that feeling like? Well, first of all, what was that feeling when a district, knowing that all these times with your baby, all these rough practices, all this running, all this going to class, all this study hall, because again, don't get it twisted. It was a program,
It
right?
was
It was
definitely a program.
everything. You
Yep.
know, going to the training room, doing all of those things, and like, damn, we going to nationals. Like, I mean, what was that like?
I mean, it was surreal. Like I've experienced, like I said, I've won a state championship on the high school level.
Yep.
So me not like at this point, like I'm in tune with basketball, but I'm not following the regions, the district, and
Yep.
like I'm really going about it like we got a game. They say it's championship, or like that was just me because I had a whole lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I mean, unbelievable. Like the different coaches, Division 1, 2, 3, like the highest levels coaches out there watching us play. And it was like, man, like that's what put in my head when I was like, oh, these coaches come to junior colleges to get these kids.
Yep.
Like it was a real atmosphere. It was like I was downstate in high school again.
Mm-hmm. Now tell us about that day, right? You know, that day, you know, because I remember the AD called me. And you know, I ain't even a women's coach, you know, but you know, Roy called me, and you know, and I've been looking anyway because I, you know, felt as though we had, you know, a couple people on the men's side that, you know, could have gotten the award also. But tell us about that day when you got the message that you're all.
Coach called me into the office, me thinking what I did now. He called me in the office and
Because you were still in school today. It was
I
still
was
doing
still in
school time.
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
She called me into the office. She got it on the table. She like this came for you. I was like what is it? Like I say, I don't know all this stuff like going into it. So she's like you are all American. I was like, elaborate. And she had to, show me the stuff and whatnot. And I was like damn, that's dope. Like out of all the players in, junior college nationals, they picked me, like, and in college, like I was really rolling. So me, I'm playing the game that I love. Like I'm not processing unless I'm playing the game I love and putting it all on the line, not only for the program but for my daughter. So I wasn't thinking about any accolades and all that stuff back then. So it was kind of like, but then as I started reading and hearing more about it, I'm like damn, I really, really did something that's like amazing. So it was exciting for me.
And you know, for the people that don't understand, especially on that level, you know, it's only like 10, you know, out of the whole country, everybody not getting selected to this honor. And so, you know, when we talk about like you one of the 10 best players in the country, you know, like hands down, you know, you are one of the 10 best players in the country. And, you know, every time that you walk in that building, you know, because the only other name that I knew was Tony McCoy. And that was always because that's what you saw. But,
Yeah.
you know, every time that you walk into the building, you know, you will see this banner, you know, and so like what does 22 mean to you?
Well, well, back then I wanted 23, but
Yeah,
because I wore it, you know, in high school.
yeah,
But Teresa Reynolds retired 23.
yeah.
So I was like, man, I gotta get something else. So I was like, all right, skip it. I'm gonna take 22 because it's the closest. Because 24, one of the returning players already had it.
Yeah.
Bird had it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll take 22 since it's, you know, right behind
Yeah.
23 or whatnot. So
Yeah.
I took it and I just rolled with it and made it mine.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Now let's speed up the pace just a little bit. Basketball will stop bouncing for all of us at some point in time. For some, it may come faster. For others, it may come, you know, take a little bit longer. But when college basketball stopped bouncing for you, this is where I think that you went to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You know, you would play in, you know, pro-ams, and again, you know, on the women's side, you know, there are a lot of great men's programs, you know, a lot of things for men to do. And I think the first one was, you know, Marvin, and
Yep.
You know, with Next Level. And, you know, obviously you know, Marvin been knowing you for a long, long time, and you know, things like that. And you started out, you know, playing in the, you know, the Next Level program. Why did you want to like continue playing once college was over?
I mean, I still had a high energy for it. I still
Mhm.
had a high drive and high passion.
Yeah.
And shoot, when I got out of there, I was probably 22-ish, around that area.
Yeah.
I still had a deep drive for the game. And I was like, and that's when I started hearing about the, you know, the overseas and all that stuff. But me personally, I just wasn't ready to either leave my daughter up here
Mm-hmm.
and I'm down there. Like I wasn't mentally prepared to it or stable to do it enough. So I found other ways to keep at it. If I wanted in the pro-hams, I was with the guys hooping. Like I hoop with them so much, it was just like second nature.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I really wanted to keep doing it. I still had a high passion for it.
And that was why I asked that question, because, you know, I know a lot of people felt like, man, you know, how come she not, you know, attempting to go overseas? And, you know, I mean, at that point, yeah, you know, you got the WNBA and everything, but it may not be at that point. It really wasn't as many opportunities available.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I think other than Marvin, you know, like he was the only one offering a tournament with women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as opposed to you know, if you playing on a men's team or playing with, you know, the guys, whatever. And then, so, you know, you win, you know, you definitely win a couple titles, you know, there with Next Level. And then West Haven happened, you know, Mr. You know, Gates and, you know, Lefty and OG, and, you know, they do a great tournament at West Haven. And, you know, I'm gonna pause here for a minute because I already know, you know, that he about to chime in. You know, y'all, you know, for, you know, the people that don't know you, I mean, you have some people that's real close to you. You know, one is LaRon, you know, obviously. You know, you definitely have Mariah, definitely. And, you know, Pooh Man, you know, and anybody that know Pooh Man, you know, I mean, you know, y'all like brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And, you know, he would, you know, as he say, he missed the dungeon. You know, he was the only dude that could come and sit
That could come in.
that could come and sit in our practices. And not only come sit in our practices, but he was the only person that I allowed to even talk to my players. You know,
Yep.
come on, man, hit that line, you know. And I couldn't get mad at him because I knew that what he was saying was like he was saying what I wanted to say, but because he spent all day with them, come on, man, you've been talking all that all day.
Yep.
So he was kind of, you know, exposing them. You know, I don't think Coach Kim gave him as much leeway, and I don't think he really wanted to, you know, mess with Coach Kim.
He would
yeah,
would have been arguing all day.
Yeah, he didn't want all that smoke. So, you know, I mean, Pooh Man too, you know, he's a coach, and you know, you all get in the West Haven tournament, and I remember coming to a championship game when it was at Crane at that time, and y'all was playing, you know, first, and you know, I walked in, and you know, and I just saw the look on y'all's face, and I'm like, man, like, he's my hoop kid, like my hoop daughter, my hoop son. You know, he didn't even play for me. You know, I would let him, you know, and I'm like, man, what's going on? You know, he like, man, her ass don't listen, coach. I'm like, what? He like, man, her ass just don't listen, man. Can you talk about the love-hate relationship that you and Pooh Man got?
Man, like, I love him to death. Like, he's been in my corner a long time. Like, people can't tell us we're not siblings. If we gonna put up his siblings week, I'm included in his siblings week. Like, that's facts.
Yeah.
So he used to train me a lot too. Like, even when practices and stuff was over, we'd get in the gym. He'll piss me off, and now I want to go home with him. We used to argue and be into it, but like, it was all for the better though. Like, he helped me out a whole lot. Like, he may not never understand it, but like, he did great by me, and like, I appreciate him for it.
Yeah, no, and it's you know, I mean, for those people that don't know, and I'm gonna post this up. Like, this was an everyday thing. Like,
every day.
Like him looking at you like, come on, you got to be kidding me.
And I'm telling him, stop talking to me.
Yeah, like, you know, he like, you know, you went 5 for 10, you know, on that last, you know, them last shots. He like, leave me alone. And like, this speaks to the passion though that we were talking about earlier. You know, you understand what you need to do to get better yourself, but it does help to have somebody in your corner holding you accountable, saying that, like, okay, you told me that you want to get here.
Yep.
And so because I care about you, if I let you slide, I'm really hurting you, if that makes sense.
Yep. He definitely held me accountable, like everything. Like, after the game, we was riding home. I could have had 30.
Yeah.
You could have did this, you could have did that. But I'm like, I had 30. No, you could have did this, you could have did that. Like,
free throws.
Yeah, like he wasn't going for it. And like now, like back then, like I took every word in. As I got older, I just started telling him, like, bro, stop talking to me. Like, because I knew he was gonna do it, and I knew he wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And he just was able to reach me differently. That's all.
Yeah. I love that. And you know, but as I said, now this is when I saw like you really, really shine, because you dealt with the next level. You dealt with, you know, been in West Haven. And then something must have happened, because I think that very next season, I'm Up Next happened. Can you talk about I'm Up Next? I'd rather you talk about it than me, because I'll butcher it. But I know when I say that, you know, you're a pioneer to women's basketball, especially modern day, you know, understanding what was going on in the city of Chicago from a women's side. And so you then created your own. So can you talk about I'm Up Next?
I'm Up Next was a women's league for females 18 and up. It got us back. A lot of people that stopped playing the game and still enjoyed it. It was a way for them to get back into it. It was a way for us that was just transitioning, you know, from college, to be able to still showcase what we have, even if we're not, you know, overseas or in the league. And we didn't have many options, and there was a lot of us that still wanted to play. So I'm like, if we keep waiting on somebody else to do it, it might not never happen.
Yeah.
So why not jumpstart it, and whatever else happens out of it, however many other leagues we get, then that's great. But like, we got to get something rolling, just so like the women in Chicago can still feel appreciated, and still know the game matters to them.
Absolutely. And, you know, you wasn't just getting people from Chicago. You was getting, I mean, because I know women that, you know, were still playing. They were coming from the south
They were coming
suburbs.
back, yeah. South suburb, north suburb,
Indiana,
west
you know what I'm
Indiana.
saying? You know, they were coming. And, you know, I think at that time, y'all might have been playing at the JLM, I think.
Franklin Park and then JLM.
Yep. And so people were coming from, you know, all over to be part of this because it wasn't nothing happening, you know, with the side. So, you know, just with, you know, the camaraderie. But now, how did that make you feel? Because now you're bringing value to the game, not only as a player, you know, because you know, I mean, you got to be the commissioner or the owner, but then, you know, you got to suit them up. So now you're not just bringing value as a player. So how did it make you feel to bring value to the game now on the other side of basketball?
Man, it sparked my interest with coaching.
Mm.
Because I still I had more that I just wanted to share.
Yeah.
And it also enlightened me on the business side. Like what I was doing was a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and nobody taught me or gave me the blueprint on how to get my women's, you know, team or league running and up and going. I did it on the fly, like made schedules and everything on my own. So it was different. It gave me a sense of purpose, and just another way of life to get the game out.
Yeah, yeah, and it really like blew up. Like you know, kind of. I don't know if the season was gonna be shorter, but I know like right after it was another season, and that was when it kind of blew up. And you know, so you've won many, you know, pro-am and tournament champions, and you know, but one that stuck out to me was the Sprite 3-on-3. Can you talk about that? Because with basketball, oftentimes, you know, as Pooh Man talked about, you know, the dungeon, you know, Malcolm X was a shooter's gymnasium.
Yes.
If you were a shooter down there in that basement, like you love to play in that gym. There's certain environments, you know, if you go to a different area, different environment, and I think that you all had this issue at nationals. Now you're playing in a wider environment. The seats are 10, 15 feet back from the rim. So it's a lot of space to look at, a lot of going back to playing off instinct or thinking. You know, you kind of, you know, really think on shooting as opposed to shooting it. But with the Sprite 3-on-3, that was played in the airplane hangar.
Yep.
Like, can you explain just like how your team came together and then how it was playing in an airplane hangar with just so much space?
I mean, it was different. Like everybody that were on our team, like was a hungry group of ladies. Like we didn't like losing. Like if one of us messed up, we would chew each other out and then be like, all right, come on, like it's over. Let's get back to it. I mean, the space itself was dope. Like they just had so much different things going on.
Yeah.
But the floor was different. The floor is different. We playing with a different ball, so it all changed. And a lot of people, you know, complain about playing with a ball like this, ball like that. I'm just complaining if it don't go in. Like it's a ball at the end of the day. I'm complaining if it don't go in. So, but it was dope, and to have, you know, 3 other young ladies play with me that, like, I've played with Adrian Gabo in high school. Like I knew what she would bring to the table. I had just started playing with Mariah and Renata, but I knew, you know, what we all could bring just off paying attention and seeing them play and whatnot. It turned out to be like dope. Like we ended up winning it, and it was just something different. It was a really good turnout.
Yeah. No, and that's why I say because I don't even know if they've had it since then. But you know, I just remember seeing that picture and seeing the 4 people that was in that picture, and I'm like these are seasoned veterans. So I can only imagine, you know, how the competition was with that. You know, and then, you know, you trade. So now, you know, you got your own league going, you know, but you starting to get hot now. You
Yeah.
know, everybody, want you. I know, and God rest his soul, Coach Hicks, just passed away. I know he
Yeah.
wanted you, you played sometime there with with his team, and then, you went, played with my, one of my big brothers, hoop brothers, Reese Carter,
Yeah.
with, the Fury. Um, talk about the ABA, just talk about, because, and me and Cardi talk all the time about, or used to talk all the time about being a globetrotter, because now he went from being a basketball player to being more of an entertainer, and like they were paying him to shoot 25 footers,
Yeah.
and to be entertaining ball handler. With the ABA, it's a little bit different, because you got light flashing, and the D3 or whatever. I don't know
Yeah.
the language, but can you just explain? And with the WABA, like, it's really expanding now, but it was just
Mm-hmm.
really blossoming.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that? Because now here's another opportunity. So now you've been on both sides. You've been that commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're getting really a business education on the fly, because now you
Mm-hmm.
come to the ABA and now you start to learn how they do things. So can
Yeah.
you talk about that?
When I first got introduced to it, I think that was when Ron had wanted Coach McCordis to coach the team.
Mm.
And Coach McCordis hit me up like, you should come to the tryout. Like, she like, you gonna make the team, just come to the tryout. So I ended up going to the tryout. And then I started learning all these different things as far as like the D3 and what this may be worth if you steal it back here. Like, it was everywhere. But it was a great experience for me. I was able to give basketball not only on the high school side, college side, but still at the semi-pro stage.
Mm-hmm.
So um, it was pretty dope. And then just transitioning to playing with Maurice
Mm-hmm.
with the WBDA, and playing with all those individuals that I always like played with was even better. Like, I know what we can bring as a unit. I know what you bring, as a person. It was just for the first year, it was just a great
Yeah,
experience.
yeah, yeah. Um, now you get into coaching. You I'm gonna say this as politely as I can. Crane and Marshall don't really like one another, so
Nah.
you
Nah.
know, and it's almost like Shaq going to play for the Celtics, and
Yeah.
the later part of his career, like, what the hell's going on? So you get the coaching job at Crane, that open it back up, and and I remember us talking about it, and like, yeah, this is something I want to do, and I think it's gonna be fun. Um, Coach Reynolds, um, what's fun about coaching?
I mean, just just to see what I can get out of the kids. Like,
Mm,
I'm full of personality,
yeah,
and like with me knowing how to separate playtime and jokes and game time, like, it works because I'm dealing with high school kids. Like, they don't understand of the straight business face. Like, you got to be
mhm,
able to make it so they can understand and want to play and
yeah,
continue to play for you.
yeah,
So I was able to bring that and still be myself and still be firm and being able to teach. And it's so funny because when I went to the interview, um, they was like, "Oh, so you went to Marshall? You played for Coach Gators?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "So if we call her, she gonna have a nice?" I said, "Yeah." You want me to, like? You can call her,
right.
and they call her, and she like, "Yeah, like, I recommend that y'all hire her," and
Mhm.
it was stamped. So,
Okay,
like, she was still helping me out even after all this time. Like,
yeah,
it was pretty dope. But being a coach and me transitioning from playing basketball to coaching,
hmm,
wa- it wasn't hard because I was already thinking so far ahead with my own future.
yeah, yeah,
So just and being involved, being in the school, like, I work in the school with them. So
hmm,
being able to see my kids every day, all day,
hmm,
helps me process who they are, who they
yeah,
trying to be, and
yeah,
what do I need to do to help them be, the best version of themselves.
Absolutely. And, I think that the one thing that stood out to me was you made it fun.
Mhm.
Like right off top, you made it fun. But even in the fun things that you would show us, it was also serious.
Yeah.
Because there are serious times, and if it's somebody's birthday or whatever, doing something as a team. And because you're in the building, you were able to get more of an understanding of who you dealing with,
Mhm.
and that's what I like. But and on top of that, you've always been coachable, and
Yeah.
so the great teacher had to be a great student, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And so, even like, prior to us getting on, you like, I'm like franchise, whatever, you like, hey coach, how you doing? And have always been respectful, but have
Mhm.
always been a sponge, that person that's willing to learn, and I remember a lot of people don't know, but I got a call from Nike, down in, and they're in San Francisco, and they like, they in Silicon Valley at this point. They're putting together a new product, and they like, do you know any schools, any coaches, any players that we can, try this new product on? They like, we gonna give them $100 and gonna feed them, and I'm like, whoa, I'm like, okay, so let me find somebody that's appreciative of this.
Yeah.
And I never forget, I hit you, and because I was gonna meet them at Orr. We went to like 3 different schools at that point.
Yep.
And it was like early in the morning. I'm like, look, I'm on my way to Orr, Nike want to do something, and kind of told you, and you was like, yeah, coach, I'm there, and I don't even think you understood it was something monetary, but you didn't know like they were gonna give you that, money right there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I just really did it off the strength of me, me knowing you and the respect I have for you.
yep. And that's what I'm saying, that, and it's like, okay, if I can learn something, but also if I can, just be a respectable person, and that meant, a lot to me. And then, we laughed because, TJ at that point, and
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, she was supposed to play for me and all that, but just knowing that you were willing to do something to not only better yourself, but we was all going into it blind. We didn't know, and that I think it
Mhm.
was like the virtual thing, that virtual
Yeah.
reality thing they were doing, but nobody knew. It was like, okay, I'm trusting them, you trusting me, but that just showed me, even away from the college basketball, you still want to do everything that you can to improve yourself or put yourself in
Mhm.
situations to be able to improve
Yeah.
yourself. And so I think that that's carried on to the basketball standpoint, and just the coach's standpoint. Um, but now at Crane, so last year you all won regionals, and I mean, this is what, your second year, this second or third year?
This was my fourth year.
Fourth year.
My
Okay.
second year we won regionals, or was that third? Second or third year we won regionals.
Okay. So how does that happen so fast? And I don't want you to give away your trade secrets, but if you could just sum it up, like, because it's coaches that are trying to build and rebuild programs, and it takes forever, or it just don't happen. Like, what were some things that you did from a personal standpoint to get the buy-in? Because obviously, if you don't have the
Hold
buy-in,
on, coach, I can't hear you.
can you hear me? So while we're waiting on T to come back, if anybody got any questions, we're gonna get in the Q&A in a minute after we break it down. Just type them in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, because if you don't get no buy-in from your athletes, nothing
It ain't
happens.
gonna work. It
So,
ain't
like,
gonna work.
how did you get that buy-in?
I mean, I had to break down where did I come from with basketball? Like
Mm,
how far it brought me, and the fact that going to school and not have to pay anybody anything, getting a free education, like it is what it is. You got to use the game to get as far as you can without having to drop a dime.
Yeah.
And being able to relate. Like I can relate to a lot of these stories, and I took time to listen. Like most of the times, kids just need somebody to talk to and help understand what makes them process certain things, or how they doing. A simple "how you doing" makes a person's day.
Absolutely.
And that's how I carry it when me just working in the high school in general. Like I speak to the kids, like ask them how they doing, and that makes their day. You can actually change a whole lot by just reaching out and asking the kid how they doing. So I was able to get that out of the kids, and the fact that I could still play, they was like, "Oh, she could play." Yeah. I'm gonna put my shoes on right now. So that helped them buy into what we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's big. You said, and again, if you're taking notes, but you were relatable and you were ear to listen. Oftentimes as adults, we just want to talk and want to talk at people and not necessarily talk to them. But when we talk to them, we now have an opportunity to listen, because talking at them, we ain't hearing nothing they say. But when we talking to them, it's a conversation, meaning that dialect has to go back and forth. And so I think that for, the coaches that's listening, older or younger, right? That's big, be able to be relatable. And it don't mean that you bring yourself down to their level, but to where they can relate to you, they can kind of understand that you're a person too, but you've shown them that you, again, back to what Coach Gators did with you. You caring about them as people, and then basketball players, and then I think the icing on the cake was like, oh, she can go too, like, and she gonna get somebody buckets or whatever. Now that's like, okay, it makes sense, and so now at that point they willing to run through a wall for you. And it's so like apropos, because that's what you said that you would do for Coach Gators. Does that make sense? So you just kind of pass down all those same tools and tricks. And now, Crane is part of the whole, Adidas, plug and, everything. And they had a big Adidas event where they brought all their schools down. A whole lot of great Chicago public schools were down there. I know your baby got a chance to meet, WNBA players, Derrick Rose, and all of that. Like, talk about that experience, because you've been a player and, you've had people screaming your name and hollering for you. But now you're in a position with young teenagers and you're kind of responsible for them. And like, it's a big deal. Like, they get sweatsuits, they get gym shoes, like they're getting like run-of-the-mill treatment. So, can you talk about how that just made you feel, knowing that like you're the leader of these young ladies, and what you've done has helped put them in position to not get this type of reward back?
I mean, like, coaching them, like I try to stay humble throughout every situation, every possible situation. And when I meet people, I just try to give them the best version of myself. Like I try to give them who I am in the raw. And like, now you can pick and choose if you want to deal with me or not. But for my kids to be able to experience that was amazing. Like a lot of kids that don't get certain things were able to get things times two. So when you're able to do stuff like that and see how kids react and how they feel about it, like you could see them glowing and see how appreciative they was. So me personally, I felt more happy with their reaction versus all the stuff that was in front of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I love that. With their reaction as opposed to what was in front of them, if it's obstacles or whatever. But yeah, them being in the moment. And now, how did it make you feel? Because so this is a two-part question. How does it make you feel knowing that little girl that you was carrying in a stroller down the steps, now, to Naya is playing on her own. I remember, when you first started training and working people out, she would be there and you would put her through some of the drills. But now she's she's kind of coming to her own.
Yeah.
So like, how does it make you feel seeing her perform? And then also, how did it make you feel knowing that she understood that day and that environment, like meeting those players, like how did all that make you feel?
I mean, like from her getting involved with, because my thing, like Tanaya is extremely athletic. Like she can play whatever she decides to play. So I never pushed basketball on her. Like I never pushed it in front of her. And she would come around and do something, and I'd be like, all right, cool. But when she told me like she wanted to do it and be committed to it, I said, well, we finna get the ball rolling.
Game time.
And she been grinding ever since. Like it's amazing seeing her grow over the past 3-4 years with the game. Like I say, she's getting taller, she's understanding more, like she asks more questions, and to be like she just really finding out what I mean in basketball. So now talking to her about it, she like for real, you did all that? And I'm like, yeah. So it's pushing her a little bit harder to be, be a better athlete, and regardless of what it is. And just seeing like how she responded in that atmosphere, because I told her like, look, you won't be with me the whole time. Like it's a lot of people here. You're gonna probably be in this session. I might be in another session. You might not see me till it's time to, eat and whatnot. And she was like, I want to go. Like I still want to go. So just so happened one of my players were in the same sessions that she was gonna be in.
Okay.
So like they ended up being buddies throughout the, the session. When I saw her, she was sending me pictures like, look, I got Derrick Rose and Candace Parker. Like she's seeing all these star athletes, and she like, man, like this is dope. So just seeing her reaction to it and her seeing it at a young age, like it's preparing her for when they do drop in front of her, how humble she gonna be.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, she always smiling too. So can't see what Hen say about Wayne.
I see. They're gonna hit me up later.
No, definitely. And we got another legend in, we got Shaky Sean in.
Sean, my God.
Yeah, Sean, I'm gonna call you too, man. I was supposed to do that about a week and a half ago, but definitely call, man. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you watching and checking in, and just knowing that it's certain people that watch this personal and professional development show, man. I love and appreciate you, for definitely checking in with us on that. Now, part of that whole Adidas thing is something really that we also call like community service, and community service ain't always going, necessarily doing for people, but doing for the community in
forward,
in general, paying it forward. As again in Malcolm X, that 5 a.m. be up for the marathon and do all that, just community service. And Marvin, I definitely appreciate it. But can you talk about the importance of putting your players in a situation in which now it's bigger than them? Because even with the whole Adidas thing, and as I say, if it's things that you all do at Crane, you got an amazing staff, but if it's just things around the school or just around the community, but that whole Adidas event, well, it was for the community of teams, but also I think community service kind of helps you understand that like life is bigger than just me, and that you're here to see your athletes get things times two that they've never had, So can you explain the importance? And I always call it like the golden handcuffs. Coaches that can like do a lot of community service, like that's a thing that helps preserve a job when you're not winning, because wins and losses on the court is one thing, but the wins that you attain off the court always bigger than the losses on the court. Does that make sense?
Make a lot of sense.
So, I mean, can you talk about how you feel, with just with some of the things that you do, with your program? Again, if it's things that they got to do, to help a teacher out, help in the lunchroom, help in the gym, you know, with each other, or being able to go out amongst the community and kind of come out of the shell that they may have?
Like a lot of our like fundraisers commit like it's about the community. Like
Yeah.
you have to get out and show what you want people to purchase.
Yeah.
Like, you know, being together, understanding how to talk to different people.
Yeah.
And still like my daughter at every practice, she's at every game. Like she's in the locker rooms when we discussing this stuff. So like you have to understand how to act when you have somebody younger around.
Yeah.
Because somebody's always watching.
Yeah.
And the kids that's not around per se, they in the stands watching.
Absolutely.
So like you gotta be professional at all times. Like and that's what I try to get to them so much, because it's all about, you know, making people want to invest in you. Why should I want you in my program? Oh, you should want me because this how I am as an athlete, this how I am as a student, and this how I am around just general people. So I think them understanding that and being involved in the community big, like we supposed to did we supposed to went and read how the Bulls do, going, you know, reading and cares. We was gonna go to local grammar schools and read to the preschoolers and the kindergartens before, you know, all this occurred, and some of our community service projects. Just so they can be used to seeing the next generation up under them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Now, you know, something that I really, really want to talk about. So like this whole hour and a half was for everybody else, right? This is for me. You know, and I laugh because, you know, we were talking about it before we came on. That, you know, I remember the day, you know, when you posted, you know, you got, you know, your printing press and all that.
Yeah.
Be Great apparel, you know, and I'm looking and I was, you know, I was asleep because I knew, you know, I've seen some of the basic stuff, but as I was getting the ad together, and I'm like, it's some real dope stuff, and it goes beyond a t-shirt, right? You don't have a t-shirt business, you have an apparel business. But let's break down the name, and so each episode, each show that I, you know, do, I always name that particular episode based on the person that I'm interviewing. And so the title of this episode, season 4, episode 35, is Prime Time, Be Great or Be Forgotten. And so, like, you know, I think that as an athlete, you know, and you know, you've seen all my former players that pop on that, you know, like we know you as franchise. And it's like, you know, we won't forget that because of how great you were and carried yourself on the court and off the court. And oftentimes, just in life, a lot of people are scared to be great. A lot of people are scared to let their light shine because they don't want other people to think that they stuck up or, you know, to think something of them. And that has nothing to do with them, right? It's like, what can you bring? As you said, why should people invest in you? And so, you know, Be Great apparel, like, why be great? Like, you know, I mean, it sounds like a asinine question, but I'm pretty sure some thought went into that name. So tell us about that name.
So Be Great, like I said in the earlier in the show, like I wanted to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And all the things that my grandma put into me, I wanted to be great at whatever it was. So the words that surround it is be original. Like be you. It's only one of you. Like that's most important. Be yourself. You got be authentic. It's really one of you, and be the best version of it. Like it's not another you. And then you have be legendary. Like that's bigger than being a legend. Like legendary status, like you live on no matter what. Like can't nobody defer you and speak this, that, and the third. All ill intent, that don't even matter. Like
don't matter.
You here. And then it's
legendary is when you is when it's one word too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then the other word is be tenacious. Like be hungry about it. Like like go for it. So when I was putting, you know, this thought into it, like my sis was like, just give me words, and it was like, nah, I'm like, yeah, like this is me. Like be great is me.
Yeah.
And I just think if you feel about all these characteristics, and you may not feel like you all these words, but if you want them, like you on your way. Like you on your way. So
Break
that's
that
my
down
motto.
again, because I want you to slow down on that. You say be original, be authentic, be legendary, and be tenacious.
Mm-hmm.
Is that all four?
Yep, all four.
Be great. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's thought provoking, but it's like it all comes back to use your gift. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah.
And you yourself is your gift.
That's it.
That's
That's it.
it.
And if you start to wanting to be like somebody else or do things like other people, now
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna be as great as you can be.
And you're not gonna be as authentic.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know,
yeah,
always stay true to yourself.
yeah, yeah.
Believe your process, and just stay the course. Like
Mhm.
it's so much that we miss out on because we let, you know, certain things push us back, or knock us back one or two steps.
Yeah,
When like, no, that's just a test. Like you got to keep pushing forward, and just
yeah.
understand where you trying to go and where you want to be at. Keep your plan and work at it.
Mm. Now, what type of apparel do you all have? I mean, we see you rocking a t-shirt. Can we see the t-shirt a little bit?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So you got the t-shirts. What else? What else y'all got?
I got.
Socks.
Yep. I had socks. I had long capri tights. Hoop apparel. I
Mm,
had headbands. I
mm,
got hoodies. I got track pants.
mm.
Sweat shorts, sweatpants. Like Mariah said, t-shirts.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the thing about that too, coach, like I do it all myself.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
know, and that's as original I want to get. Like at some point, yeah, it's gonna have to branch out and become more than just me. But like, what better person to get your message across and be the inspiration than doing it yourself?
Thank
It's a
you.
process that, you know, I want to go through to
Yeah.
just help figure me out.
Yeah.
So hopefully it can do the same for somebody else, you know, watching us and whatnot.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Now, like let's get right to it. The people that want to, be a part of the Be Great movement, and they want to own it, embody it. How can they get products? How can they get? And I even seen, you got the BG bags and there. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, taking off right now. So, how can they get products?
So I have an Instagram page. I actually send it all to you so you can put it up, coach.
Okay.
Instagram. I
Or
have
or actually just tell Raya to put it in the chat because her and Pooh Man having their own conversation in here. So
Momo. Can you put the stuff in the group chat? The Facebook, the
yeah,
Instagram,
yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, my website isn't finished yet, but when it's done, it's gonna be pretty dope.
Okay.
But yeah, you can purchase directly through me, through those social handles. And we go from there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, that's sweet. And so, y'all definitely go out and grab some Be Great, apparel. And again, that's really what part of this show is also. Just, not only, last time that you were on, we kind of stopped at I'm up next, but
Yep.
now you've kind of broadened out, expanded it, and I want people to get to know one more of the person, Taranika, the great basketball mind that Coach Reynolds has, as well as get more eyes on Be Great Apparel. And if we can do that, then it was a great and amazing show. Now let's talk about this coaching tree for a minute.
Okay.
Um, tell me about Coach Gators and Coach McQuarters. Like, both of them together. Couple words, couple sentences. Whatever. Like, without getting too, emotional, as you said, they've both
Yeah.
kind of seen the positive time. They've seen some of the dark times. But for people that, they may hear, okay, Coach Gators has, legendary, or, Coach Kim and, do great things, but like, what have they meant in your life?
Man, they put my needs first versus what I wanted.
Mm,
Um, they was just a godsend, like amazing, two amazing coaches that just got the best out of me. Like they lit the fire,
yeah,
like
yeah,
they sparked something in me that I didn't know I had myself. And with me coaching now, like I can hit Coach Gators up when I need to. I can hit Coach Kim McCorders up when I need to. And they're not gonna tell me what I want to hear.
right.
Like they gonna flat out give it to me in a row. Like put your big girl pants on and
Mhm.
like this what comes with the job. And like I thank them for that every day. Like they're open ear whenever I need to talk. Like
Yeah,
they've been amazing to me.
yeah, I love that. Two great women, and as you said, telling you what you need to hear. A lot of times that can be painful, and it's like,
Man.
I ain't call you for that, you know what I'm saying? But
Right, right.
it come back full circle. It's like that's what I needed,
Yep.
to be able to help me grow. Now before we get out of here, so I had part of what with my coaching and consulting company and with Bless the Ball and things that we do. So I kind of added another tool to the toolbox that I use. We go into schools with our social emotional learning program or character development, as well as with my scholarship coaching program. And so we've kind of partnered with Eric Thomas and his company, and taking what's called the DIS assessment. For a lot of people that don't know exactly what it is, but it's a tool that talks about like our preferences and how we prefer to behave, how we prefer to act, and just what, as we call, what our superpowers is, right? Like what makes us us. And so I wanted to do this at the end of the interview. You actually the first coach that I'm kind of going through the follow-up live, and
Okay.
something new that that we're doing. Every coach won't get an opportunity to do it, especially for free. But again, I know that you appreciate these things, and I've reached out to a couple of different people, but for those people that appreciate and want to get to the next level, we have to be able to self assess,
Mm-hmm.
understand who we are, understand what we bring, to the world. So, I'm a share this screen for a minute, and I just want to, kind of go over your assessment, kind of live, so that people can kind of understand. So, just to give you a little bit of background, so again, we have 4 behavior types that we prefer to act or be and do, and so doing your actual assessment, so these things show the D is more so how you make decisions. The I is more interactive, how you deal with people. The S is more so what type of pace that you're on, and that you like to be. The C is you're more conscientious. You really rules and procedures. And this not only so I took this assessment 2 years ago as a coach, and then I took it again last year just as a person. It's been able to help me not only as a coach, but just as a person, and with my family. My whole family's taking it. And so, we're able to better communicate with people, because oftentimes we communicate with people in the language that we understand. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so now we're talking cross categorical, because I'm talking to you about, if I really care about people, but you really care about like getting things done. Well, now if you talking about getting it done and I'm talking about people, Now we having a totally different conversation, but we're
Yep.
supposed to be talking about the same thing. And so these color bars represent you in your natural state. So your natural state is how you behave when you being most natural, right? Just your basic style. The gray bars are your adaptive style. You know how you behave when you're being observed or you are aware of the behavior. So our most dominant is our strengths. Oftentimes we focus on our weaknesses, and I even tell players like, let's focus on these strengths, and then we can develop these weaknesses as we go. And it's really not weaknesses, but the areas in which we need to improve on later. But if you're good, if you're great at what you do well, then that helps kind of mask those blind spots that we don't see. But in having our superpowers, the things that we're great at, it also kind of is a hindrance as well, because now we may not necessarily understand our strength and how it's being used against us, if that makes sense. So your superpower is you're more of an interactive person, right? So you're a pretty high 81, and your adaptive is a 56 D, so more dominant. So the way that I broke it down to you before we got on was, if you in the hallway, if you're in the lunchroom with your teammates, with other athletes, you smile, and then Taranika, but when it's game time, when you down 2 and it's 30 seconds on the clock, now in your adaptive state, now you become franchise, because it's like, give me the damn ball. It's like, yeah, we cool, but the ball need to come to me. And so kind of break it down a little bit more, right? So we call, so like the I would be more of a flight attendant, right? So you people oriented, you friendly, you the life of a party, you're emotionally connected, right? People like Will Smith, Oprah Winfrey, Rob Gronkowski, like people that like to have fun, right? Now the D's are more so the pilots. When you think about a pilot and you get on an airplane, right? They're the leaders, they straightforward, like, hey, don't turn your devices on till we get 35,000 feet in the air. They tell you when to take your seatbelt off, when to put them on. They're more fast-paced, more energetic. So people like Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods, right? Kobe Bryant, we have watched The Last Dance. People like Michael Jordan was mean. No, Michael Jordan was just like, he was the pilot of that team, right? He was a leader, and he was straightforward. Like, let's not cookie cut or none of that. On the flip side, you may have somebody more so like Dennis Rodman, that's more of an eye that, was, the life of the party, wanted to have fun. And that was more in his natural state. So now you've been an 81 I, right? And your natural state, but now also not far behind, you're a 77C, which means that it really matters to you. Like you want to dot all your I's and cross all your T's. You want to make sure that things are done in a specific order, in a specific pattern. Now we haven't went over this, and so I just want to see if it makes sense. So would you say that in your natural state you're more sociable, enthusiastic, and inspiring? Would you say that describes who you are in your more natural state?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, on the flip side, when the game is on the line, right, and when you're being watched, would you say that now you're more responsible, competitive, and determined? Do that sound like you?
Of course.
Okay. And so, again, this tool kind of shows, and again, so you see the map here, and it kind of shows like where you are. And so naturally you're more of an extrovert right here, but you care about people. So, and so the D's and the I's, you're more of an extrovert, but see the D word about the task. So when the game on the line, you care about the task. And in general, you caring about people, right? You in the school with the kids, you ask them about they day. But now when it's game time, when it's Coach Reynolds, you kind of get into your D a little more. Would you agree? Then
I agree.
you know. And so just to break, couple things down, like I, showed you, this is where, and you was reading some of this and you was like, oh, you like, okay,
Yeah.
this is right. So in your natural pattern, you tend to be more optimistic. You demonstrate, high personal standards. Um, you tend to be friendly, rather outgoing, interactive with people. In your more adaptive state, work very, effectively in specialized areas. You may serve as the glue that holds the complex project together. And again, we haven't even read this, but when I
Yeah.
join you now as going from Taranika to franchise or Taranika to prime time, now you kind of switch, and
Yeah.
so this tool helps you understand your behavior. So now and it's not like, ooh, you got multiple personalities. We all got all four.
We all do.
But it's like, what's more dominant, and how can you use your more dominant behavior to be able to help you to become better? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, I want to take you down here because the people that know you, and from Pooh Man, Mariah, Hen, Coach Gators, right? They probably all understand this either. So this was a game changer to me when I understood this from my daughter's standpoint. I'm gonna give you a copy of the whole, assessment, and we could probably do a deeper, dive into it a little bit later on, another day. But how you prefer, like people that's dealing with you, right? These are the do's and don'ts for the people that's dealing with Taranika, right? They kind of know you personally.
Yeah.
So things to do to effectively communicate with Taranika, right? Assure others, that there won't be no surprise. Like, you don't want no surprises. Provide testimonials from people seen as important or prominent. Be certain that the information that people is giving you is credible. So when you're talking to Taranika, make sure that you're talking about a credible source, right? Be certain and individual responsibilities are clear, right? You don't want no gray areas. Like, what's supposed to be done, how's it supposed to? Now, people may say, "Oh, she don't act like that," but this is how you prefer to be communicated with, so that it will help you get the job done, as opposed to things, if you're being talked to, how that can be a trigger. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, bro.
You want to outline individual tasks and responsibilities in writing. Like, give it to me, show me what I got to do.
Let me know what I got to do.
Yeah, so that I can see it, right? If you disagree with the direction that Taranika is going, right, make an organized presentation of your position. Like, don't just be all off the wall with it. But one thing with the flight attendants, because my daughter's a flight attendant too, at times we can be all over the place, because we're so trusting. But in that trusting, that can be used as our weakness too, because it's a blind spot, because we trust so much, and then we get burnt, and so things to avoid when communicating with Taranika: don't offer promises that you can't keep, right? Don't whine about all the good work that you've done, right? Don't manipulate or bully others into agreeing with you. So if you see somebody, being kind of pushed or bullied, that's going to affect you the same way it's going to affect you if you feel like you being pushed too hard, bully, right? If people disagree with you, right, don't let it, reflect others personally. Don't let it affect the relationship. So even if it's an agreement, but a disagreement, but now if you taking it personally, because it's flight attendants, it's eyes, because we're more people, oriented, and we like people, we tend to get emotional and take things personally, and sometimes can hold a grudge, right? Don't leave things up in the air or work to chance. And so, as I was explaining to you, based on this tool, right, it will not only help you in your personal life, but it'll also help you as a coach. And this is why I'm working with educators and coaches with this thing, because a teacher may have 30 students in their class, but in all actuality, it's really only 4. Does that make sense? Like, you got 15 people on your team, or 45 people as a head coach. You got 45 people in your program. but you really only got 4, right?
Yeah.
So they're either this way, this way, this way, or this way. And so once we understand that, now we can start to communicate with people in their language so that we can get the things done that needs to get done for the people. Because again, because your mission is teaching young ladies how to become better women.
Yep.
So, well, you probably wouldn't work well with a whole lot of people that's like you, because all the other stuff is being left, behind.
Yeah.
So like that, you just moving spontaneously. You're a people person. Hey, but who's really dotting them I's and crossing them T's, right? So
Right.
you need somebody on the team to be able to do that. You also need somebody that got a nice pace. Those are the people that don't really talk a lot, but when they talk, they make sense. And you're like, well, I say that a long time ago. And they like, well, like that's not my place, right? But you need all those people. And then you need the dominant people or the pilots that can be like, hey, this is where we got to go. Let's go. And it really made me understand with watching the Bulls at this point of this taping, we all watched The Last Dance, but we know again, if Michael Jordan was the pilot, let's get this done. Phil Jackson was what we call the air traffic controller. That's the seat. That's the one that's really making sure all the details are in a row. Because if the details ain't in a row, that pilot, it don't really matter, right? That pilot just wants to get up and fly. But that traffic controller be like, hold on, you can't go here, you can't go there, you got to watch this. You have all them details. Well, now the flight attendant, that's the one that's smiling. Okay, let's get things done, make everybody feel comfortable. We people oriented, but then the ground crew is the person that we would call that steady person, right? Ground crew know, hey, I got to get them bags on the plane, because when these people get off, I want them to feel good, right? So that grounds person is the one that want to make everybody feel good, but oftentimes they don't think about themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you building a team of athletes, when you building a business team, when be great, get to that point, you got to have people, and companies are now starting to do this, right? This tool has been around since 1920s. Companies are starting to do this when they hire people. And so it may not be that you don't get the job because you're not qualified. You may not get the job because you're more of a pilot and we need a flight attendant. Does that make sense? Like, so we need somebody that can smile when the people come in, as opposed to the people gonna be like, what the hell you want? You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
But when you understand the behavior types, now that can take you to the whole next level. So, that's what, it's all about. So I send you the, your assessment. And like I said, we can, sometime later on this week, really break it down so that you understand, it a little bit more. Cool Man said you got sizes, the big fellas, and all the different limits. But before we go, I just, I want to do housekeeping, which I always do, and just let people know one, understanding life through the game of basketball. This is where, okay, this is where this book, everything that we kind of talked about tonight, all the things that Taranika learned from Coach Gators, from Coach McQuarters, from her granny, and she learned at an early age from granny about teamwork and just, all these concepts that apply to sports, that apply to basketball, that you can use to apply to life. And so this book breaks down basketball concepts and how to be a better leader so that, we can better serve those individuals that we serve. So the show is birthed from this book. And so this is the first book. And then the second book that I wrote, right, as we talked about, you heard Taranika talking about just being mentally locked in, mentally focused to be able to get things done. Well, you can have that coach that's all on you, that's hollering at you, that's motivating you, to get you going. But what happens when that coach is not around? So many athletes say, hey, I was in the zone tonight. And I don't really, they can't explain it. I don't know what that meant. I can't tell you how I felt. I just know I was mentally locked in on defense and on offense, and the game was moving slow to me because I was mentally locked in. Well, this book breaks down your performance, your development, as well as your experience. And so that's what creates the perfect storm, when you can combine all three of those together: your past experiences, your development, as well as your current performance, and be able to lock in. So this book, T, is more so the coach, when that coach is not there for you, that can help you understand things like imagery, things like meditation, things like, you know, being able to see things before it happened, put yourself in the moment. So now once you get in the moment, you're like, I've already seen this before. I've already been there. And so, you know, that's what both of these books do. This one is going to help you become a better leader. This one is going to help you become better mentally. I don't want to use the word stable, but to become better mentally, a better mental performer on or off the court. And when you can do both of those things, be able to be a better mental thinker, as well as being able to use those principles, well, now you get to become your best self. Right now, you get to be great. So if, like, you know, to put these books, and if we was to put it into a shirt, it would be everything what Taranika said that Be Great stands for. You have to understand you can do it, and then you got to understand what concepts and what strategies to use to be able to get there, if that makes sense. And so, you know, and I'm gonna drop it in the link. You know, you get both books as well as the first 2 seasons of this show in a, you know, bundle, you know, in a book bundle at a very nice investment. I'm not going to even say a very nice price, but a very nice investment, because you learn it. And, you know, people say, like, I've been doing this for 27 years. If you can get 27 years of experience in 2 books that may take you 2 days to read, you win it. And then if you can double back and get 2 seasons of, you know, we've been going for 2 hours, but if you can get 2 seasons of episodes to where you're getting this professional and personal development, now that's just icing on the cake. Plus, Franchise was in season 2, where, you know, we you know, broke down, you know, some things, yeah, with her story, but, you know, broke down some other things. Again, she was at a different stage in her life, but was able to understand. So now, like, you can't beat it. 2 books and 2 seasons of professional and personal development. You know, that's what it is. So I drop, you know, the link in the chat with that. You know, y'all go and cop a book bundle. Y'all go and cop some Be Great apparel. And, you know, you continue to do things the right way. Franchise, can you turn your mic down a little bit? Because I had to unmute you. Now, before I let you go, you know, I'm gonna have to put you back in the hot seat, and this is gonna be a little bit different this time. Can you talk about, the first question that I want to ask you is this? Hardest thing that Coach McQuarters did to you as a basketball player? Like, I mean, what was the one thing that stand out to where you was like, ooh, like, you know, because a coach ain't good until they athletes say, like, oh, I hate them. You know what I'm saying? So what was that moment with Coach Kim that you was like, oh no, I can't, I can't deal with her?
I mean, the day it was the blizzard. We had a blizzard that year.
Yep.
And we came back from being stuck, snowed in. She was like, y'all ain't do no running. We like, no. We was snowed in. She like, nah, y'all should have been out there running in the snow. And then she told us we had 300 down and backs.
Ooh.
Then she left. It was crazy. Like, we were pissed. Like, I was like, nah, this lady tripping. You want us to go run in the blizzard? We can't even get out the house. Like, that was something different. But it gave us some structure, because she left and we were still in there running, like, as if she was still there.
And so that was my next question. Y'all did all of them.
We were still in there running.
Hey, it ain't nothing like as a coach when you leave practice.
What? we thought she was still downstairs because by the elevator it had the camera you could see in the
Yeah.
gym.
Yeah.
So we're like, no, y'all, she's still watching us. But she was gone. We just thought she was still there.
Okay, y'all love that. Best basketball moment as a player.
As a player, I got a few, but I'll say when I came over to Marshall and I met Coach Boo, Corey Hargraves, and like he tapped into me and got a total different person out of me. Like I was averaging 30 off free throws and layups. Like I didn't shoot jump shots, none of that, and he was just like, "Nah, you got the best shot on the team. Like you can shoot." And that moment, like some changed, and I would put in extra work with him. We would shoot on the machine. He corrected my mechanics, and like that year, I actually went downstate for the 3-point contest. Like he gave me my confidence through the roof. Like that was probably one of the better moments I've had.
Okay,
which shifted my confidence.
And that's something that I wouldn't even think of. Maybe the people that like know you as well, probably maybe state high school championship, All American, but yeah, just that time with with Coach Hargraves, and rest in peace to him, and great guy. But yeah, no, I think that's deep there. Just somebody else believing in you, being able to just show you exactly what else you can do to be great.
Great, yeah.
Yep. It also go back to that. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you this question. I always ask.
It should have been 40, Shaq. Pooh man talking about when that game at Malcolm X when I gave them people 40.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It was that was one of them nights. Now I'm gonna ask you this because I know that you're a basketball student. And you may be a little bit biased too, but if you had one shot, one person that you could put on your team, are you taking E.C. Hill or are you taking Kim Williams? I had to give you all, and I had to give you all. Hot seat, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a hot seat. One more to put on my team.
You can.
I'm gonna say Hill.
Okay. Why?
I'm gonna say Hill because her demeanor.
Oh.
She was professional.
Okay.
She was able to get a bucket. Like
they called it Lady Jordan.
Yeah, like she was definitely like that image, and looking at it, it was different. Like Kim played different. You know what I mean? Like it was much smoother, but it was nasty.
Yeah.
So I say EC Hill because I feel like I got that dog mentality in me.
Okay, yeah, because and again, Lady Jordan, she was the best player in the state, I think in the country, played it at that time, but you wouldn't know it. Like, I saw Kim Williams do some things. Ooh, it was just nasty, like, ooh, just like I'm coming at you in the door. So that makes sense. What EC is like, she gonna kind of rock them to sleep a little bit, and by the time the game over, like, damn, she had 38 and 18. Yeah. Okay. Before we go, if you can close us out with how can we make basketball better?
I mean, me personally, at this generation, the pace that we're going, I just think we need more younger bodies in it. Like it's time for us to give back to basketball what our older coaches gave to us. Like it's time for us to pay it forward and to get the kids back on the right track. Like that's what we're missing. Kids being committed, being on the right track, not having the big brother figure, the big sister figure. Like we need to lock in. Like we always talk about the problem, but we don't discuss how can we fix it and how can we work forward getting past it. So I just think that's what we need, more problem solvers versus people just always talking about what's going on.
I like that. Yeah, just being more. Yeah, my son in the background with his sis, but being more solution oriented
Yeah.
and not just talking about the problem. Talking about the problem. Um, I can't let you go without just asking you this. Why should women really pay attention to women's basketball?
It's it's different. You get more fundamentals than anything. Like we you don't have that many women that come in just as athletic as you might see a guy, whatnot, but it lets them see that other women are out here doing the same thing that they doing, and they love doing it. Like what better teacher is seeing females that's not too far off in age getting the work done. Like it's a lot by looking at the NBA and the boys and whatnot. I don't encourage my girls to look at the NBA because it doesn't help them.
Yeah.
They get a lot of oohs and ahs out of it. I want them to watch the fundamental aspect of watching the WNBA and the college girls games. Like that's where you can tap into potential and see like she not even that fast and look what she doing. Like the little stuff that girls really can't, that the boys do that the girls really can't do. So watching it raises your IQ. Because with us, like I say, we have to develop a different mentality as far as like watching the game.
Yeah.
We got to think a whole lot more, pay attention a whole lot more versus being able to go dunk and jump 40 feet off the ground. Like it's a lot. So I think they should tune in a whole lot more.
Yeah, and I mean, women's basketball is really taking off now. But I think that a lot of people are really paying attention to the details.
Yeah.
Women really, and as you said, because they're not as athletic, but they're detail minded, and they do what needs to be done. Let me say, as opposed to on the men's side, they kind of do what they can do.
Yep.
But then the things that they can't do, they just can't do it. Might be the dunk, but may not be to shoot a left hand layup.
Yep.
But you see that young lady gonna focus on taking the right steps, the proper hand, movement and all of that. And I think that, and I mean, women, really rule the world anyway. And so just with coming up with women's basketball and paying attention to women's basketball more, I think that's very apropos as you said it. And I mean, people definitely need to get out once outside opens back up, and it's safe to go back to school, and definitely get over the Crane and check Taranika out, and what she's doing, and on all levels. You get your B grade apparel, go to the Crane game. I'm pretty sure you got some some blue and gold, like I saw the Marshall colors, but I'm pretty sure that that you got a whole lot of colors. So definitely tap into what this woman is doing. I'm super proud of you. I don't always get on your things, but some of the lives be fine. You be like, oh, Coach out here, and I have to click off because I'm like, hey, they might be comfortable with the drink in your hand or whatever. Oh, Coach out here. But definitely stay in tune, and I think that the job got to keep going. You got Riot, keep focused to it. So I just thank you for spending this time with us. Being able to educate the parents, the athletes, and even the coaches. We've had some heavy hitters tonight, what I call, that have just chimed on, and from great interview to this is needed. You know, we you know, I know personally, I, you know, need to get more women coaches on or women athletes on, but to just bring a different heightened awareness to women's basketball. And even, you know, we've talked about women's basketball, and even like, you know, later on, you know, I don't want to date this film, but you know, this particular episode. But later on, you know, we got like TJ coming on. Well, you know, he coaches women basketball.
Yeah.
We had Joe Chapman. You know, he do, you know, women's AAU. Barry Bradford, he do women's. You know, so but to actually hear it from a woman's point of view, I think it, you know, breaks so many barriers that needs to be broken, and to have people understand. So, you know, I appreciate you for coming on, Franchise. You know,
Thank
I
you for
hope
having
that,
me, Coach.
you know, people, you know, learn, you know, people listen and, you know, take notes. You know, I got like 3 pages of notes here. I always tell people as I'm interviewing, you know, I'm taking notes because I want to learn, you
Yeah.
know, and, you know, not that you said anything that I didn't expect you to say. But you said some things that has shown me that since the last time that we've talked, your development has went to an all-time high of where it is right now. So it's, you know, no wonder why you're doing a great job. Continue to do a great job. You know, continue pushing, you know, your baby, you know, and all your players, and, you know, continue to be great. Like
Yeah.
literally, you know, I think I have a better, like I said, that was for me. I got a better understanding. Those
Yeah.
4 pillars is like dope. You know what I'm saying? Definitely dope. So I love everything, you know, that y'all doing. Keep it up. And, you know, as I say in closing, you know, always strive for the top, because it is crowded as hell at the bottom.
For sure.
So the next time y'all go get y'all Be Great apparel, go grab your book bundle, and we'll see y'all on the other side. Who is that? A side note. Hey, Shorty, I'm ready. I'm super. I don't know what the hell you meant to talk about. Super
I
raw.
don't know neither.
Pooh Man, get you a jump shot, man. Then
Okay.
holler at you later on. So next time, my people, y'all be good. Taranika, Prime Time, Franchise Reynolds, I appreciate you. It's been a blast.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, y'all. Peace.